watched the Watergate hearings covered from wall to wall in the summer of '73 when I was 10 years old. I was fascinated by that whole spectacle, the whole thing.
Can you
I
tell
think
us?
even back then I just felt like that things could be run better.
Okay. So can you tell? I mean, so justice and run better. Can you tell us about this justice? Does it feel like
Well,
some sort of temperature gauge with inside of you, or what does it feel like for you?
I think I was. There was a time when growing up with your parents as public school teachers, that had a big effect because I watched in their district as there was an administrator there were actually a number of administrators after administrators who came into their district and had their ideas about how teachers should teach. And they would send these henchmen into my mom's classroom where she was teaching kindergarten and stand there in a suit and tie in the back of the room staring down the kids and her while she was going about her day.
Wow.
It was a terrifying experience, and it was happening in the classrooms all over the whole district. And there were teachers who were leaving because of the stress.
Wow.
Some people were dying of heart attacks. It was a terrible situation.
Where's this? Is this in California?
Ontario, California.
Ontario, California. Okay.
It's the Ontario Montclair School District. And I remember being so outraged by this situation. I think I was like 14 at the time that this was going on. I went down to the local newspaper and tried to interest a reporter in covering this story. And I told them about all the stories I had heard. Because my parents didn't know I was going there, I just walked down through the offices. And I don't think they ever picked up on the story. But it really did when I see an injustice, I want to fix it. And things
It's
can
that
be
simple?
done. It's just that simple.
Okay.
I mean, at the same time, I've always been an artist. I got my first camera in first grade,
Okay.
and it was a little Kodak Instamatic, and there was little cartridges you used to put into cameras that had the film in it, and I would photograph everywhere. I also remember loving Dennis the Menace, and Dennis the Menace was a comic book. And one of my favorite comic books was in Dennis the Menace. He was used to travel all over the place, and there was a special edition of Dennis the Menace Goes to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
I had my dad take me to Washington, D.C. when I was 10 years old and looked around the whole thing, see what was going on. That was fascinating. But also another big influence on me was Mad magazines.
Okay.
A sense of humor is absolutely crucial if you're doing anything in the political world or any other part of the world for that matter. I started getting interested in them when I was like 10 or 11 years old.
Okay.
And I became so interested in them that I started collecting back issues, and I would put classified ads in the local penny saver.
Okay.
And for anybody who had old back issues of Mad magazines. I think this is before people were really like collecting all this stuff.
So this is way before Craigslist and those.
Oh
kind
yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah.
that whole-
There
that whole
actually
world,
had physically printed things that had to go out. And I managed to collect here and there. I remember one guy gave me like all of his Mad magazines from 1964 to 1974. And,
Wow.
and I eventually got all Mad magazines from 1954 to 1981.
Do you still have them?
I still have them. Yeah.
Okay.
No, they were formative. Having that sort of weird sense of humor about stuff. It also was great at learning about popular culture, politics, everything.
Yeah.
Because you start to see American history through the eyes of Mad magazine.
So you're
through
sort of
that
like
period of time.
Jerry Seinfeld and Howard Stern, who are big fans of Mad magazine.
Oh, it's huge. In fact, I even at one point I found a local newspaper, the same one I went to try to bust the local superintendent. They were plagiarizing, stealing actual Mad magazine cartoons and using them in advertisements for a local burger place. And I recognized it immediately because I memorized every issue cover to cover. I sent a copy of it to Mad magazine to the publisher.
Oh, wow.
And I got a copy back from William M. Gaines, the founder and publisher, and he sent me a letter saying, "Thank you so much for sending this. We're sending it along to our attorneys. And in the meanwhile, here's a copy of this hardback collection of old Mad magazines that he autographed and sent to me."
That's a cool story.
Yeah, it was very cool. Eventually, they forced them to stop using the ads, and I felt very proud.
So what's the connection then between justice and art? Maybe people asked you that before, because those are two big streams.
No, well, justice is about everybody having a voice and mutual respect. How you don't see anybody as enemies. You see people as as fellow Americans who you are living with, who create this society, create culture, create your world. And that's part of my entire art thing is, obviously beauty and creating these moments is really, really important. But at the same time, all of the main theme of my public art that I've done since 1999 has been celebrating everyday people and the diversity of the communities we live in.
Mm-hmm.
If you see the main centerpiece of my 4,000 square feet worth of murals in downtown Tucson that I dedicated in May '99, it's these people walking down the street in the 1950s. And if you want to see them, you can go to tilography.com. That's my website where people can look at
What's that?
tilography.com.
Excellent. Okay.
And the biggest piece is these murals that I found. I was doing a history project with low-income teenagers on the west side in 1997, a summer jobs program for kids, where they interviewed their elders, and a couple of the elders brought in photographs of people walking down the street in the 30s, 40s, and 50s in downtown Tucson. And I loved them. They're full-body shots of people caught mid-stride by these street photographers who handed them a sequentially numbered card and said, come on down to the drugstore the next day, check them out, and you can order a postcard.
Okay.
People got the postcards and kept them because they were their loved ones.